Hi everyone, happy holidays. You're watching this week's weekly sex ed Q&A of Eggplants and Peaches. My name is Naomi, my pronouns are she, her, and I'm going to be covering topics such as urination with erections, cheating, arousal fluids, body positivity, and much more. So, to start things off, I want to wish everyone a happy holiday. I know I said it earlier, but it has been a year. I know I stayed home. I hope a lot of other people stayed home. I didn't see my family or my grandparents, which was pretty difficult for me, but I'm hoping that I'll get to see them next year. So, I'm hoping that everyone is following social distancing protocols and keeping hope because I know that we're going to get through this. So for the first two questions, they revolve around the topic of cheating. And so I actually reached out to a friend who is a licensed family and marriage therapist whose pronouns are he, his. I'm going to read his answer directly so that you know that these are his words. And the first question is it okay to like someone and or fall in love with someone who once cheated on you in the past? And he wrote, it's completely understandable to sometimes like or fall in love with someone who might have hurt us or maybe isn't a good partner/relationship match for us. Quite often those feelings can come up because relationships are complex and it is absolutely possible to hold a lot of love and care for someone while also holding pain and hurt that they have directly caused. If you are thinking of exploring a relationship with this person, a good question to ask yourself would be whether you feel that you are able to talk about what happened in your shared past. Is that person able to hear and hold space for the pain and hurt that cheating may have caused? Are you able to talk about what happened and try to understand aspects of why it happened? Being able to go towards these topics can create space for emotional healing for everyone involved. Cheating can come with so much hurt, guilt, and shame for the participating partner, and can also help you better understand your relationship in a way that will help prevent the same pattern from unfolding in the future. And now the next question is, today me and my boyfriend broke up after he cheated on me. I feel like it was my fault, even though it wasn't. Is it normal to feel this way? And he writes, I'm sorry to hear that your former boyfriend cheated on you. Cheating can bring up a lot for us emotionally. It makes sense that we sometimes feel that if our partners have cheated on us or broken a monogamous contract, then it has something directly to do with us. It might feel that we were not enough in some way, or that it was somehow our fault. People cheat for a wide variety of reasons, and even with that said, it can sometimes be very difficult to be able to explain exactly why it happened. In this case, it might have been a turbulent response to issues in the relationship, or it might have been a hapstance mistake. Sometimes the response of blaming ourselves or feeling responsible gives us a sense of grounding and offers a concrete reason for the pain that can come with it. So I hope this helps, and I hope you heal, and I'm sorry for the pain that you could be going through right now. So the next question is, I share a room with my brother who is a year younger than me. He's 12 and I'm 13. How do I go about asking him for private time and time to clean up any messes if I leave any? So it's understandable that you're going to need alone time. There's not really anywhere to go because there's a pandemic, and your brother probably needs alone time too. So what I would recommend is sitting him down and asking him to create a schedule with you. So this is going to be weekly scheduled times where you both get alone time in the room, which is completely understandable. We all need alone time. So this may look like 1 to 2 hours per week or a few times per week that you each get alone time in the room. And since you may be doing private things like masturbating, you may want to make a rule that you get all the things that you're going to need out of the room before the scheduled time. And you're also going to want to make sure that you give yourself a buffer, so a margin of time before your brother is allowed back in the room. So set a timer so that you have about 10 or 5 minutes to clean up and that you can be settled and that you're not running late for him, because you want to make sure that you're honoring the time that you've scheduled so that it feels fair for everyone. So go ahead and try to make a schedule, nothing too long, right? You don't want to say 6 hours a day. You want to make sure it feels fair. So 1 to 2 hours or more or less, whatever you can both agree on and stick to. And that should help you both get your alone time in the shared room. The next question is, can boys get mood swings? And to answer your question, yes, everyone can get mood swings, and they can be caused by a variety of factors such as hormones, substance abuse, and mental health disorders. So if they're persistent, they're getting noticeably worse, you're causing or potentially causing harm to yourself and others, then you should see a doctor to get evaluated and see what's going on. But to answer your question, everyone can get mood swings, not just females, boys too. Next question is it normal for my legs to shake when I rub my vagina with my fingers? And to answer your question right away, yes, it is normal, especially for someone with a uterus. So when you are aroused and masturbating and you're about to reach orgasm, it's really normal for the muscles in your legs, face, or feet to twitch or contract or even cause shaking of the legs. And when you reach orgasm, the muscles in the uterus tend to contract as well. And so this is a perfectly normal response to pleasure and reaching orgasm. The next question is, why does my vagina dribble when I orgasm? And to answer your question, this is your body's response to becoming more aroused. So when you're reaching orgasm, you're very aroused and your vagina is producing arousal fluids, which means that there's going to be more lubrication, which could cause a dribble to come out of the vagina. It could also be an indication of female ejaculation. So if you're feeling like a gush of fluid or a trickle, then you could be ejaculating without realizing it. So that's perfectly normal, and it's your body's response to pleasure. The next question is very similar to the one before, but I want to make sure that I answer it. Me and my friend consented to fingering and it was nice, but my question is, why was there something running down my leg after my orgasm? And since it's so similar, it's because you're becoming more aroused and there's going to be more arousal fluid, so lubrication. And it's also important to note that lubrication is important because it protects against STIs, because you don't have that microscopic tearing or that friction. You have a nice smooth surface for genitals to rub or fingers to rub inside the vagina. So lubrication is really important and is produced when aroused to reduce the risk of STIs and to make sex more comfortable and therefore more pleasurable. The next question is, it gets a little messy when I orgasm, and my mom saw some evidence on my bedroom floor. Now she's asking me why I peed on my floor. How do I tell her what it is? And so the way that I like to approach these kind of awkward parent-teen dynamic questions is to be honest. But I know that some people can't be honest with their parents because it could put them in danger or get them in trouble. So the way that you're going to approach this is going to vary depending on how your mom reacts to sex education and conversations around sex in general. And so it's been a few days, so I hope that you were able to navigate this in an honest and transparent way. And that's what I would recommend. If your mom is going to listen to you and you're not going to get in trouble or be put in danger, just be transparent about it. There's nothing wrong with what you did. You made a mistake and you didn't clean up well. That's all right. And if you know that it's going to put you in some sort of physical or emotional danger or you're going to get in trouble, then you may unfortunately have to blame it on a urinary accident or something of the sorts. But I know it's been a few days, so I'm hoping that you were able to get this sorted out in a positive manner. The next question is, can you get pregnant if you finger a vagina while you have small amounts of cum on your hand? And so first and foremost, there is a risk of pregnancy if the cum on the person's hand had sperm in it. So it came from somebody with a penis and then they fingered somebody with a vagina. Then yes, there is a risk of pregnancy because you're introducing sperm into the vagina, which could cause pregnancy. Now, the risk of pregnancy is going to be determined by how much semen was on the hand and if the person that was fingered, so the person who has the uterus, if they are in the fertile window of their menstrual cycle. And that is subjective, so it would depend on the person that you fingered and you'd have to ask them that. And you might also want to ask them to take a pregnancy test in 2 to 3 weeks to make sure that they indeed are not pregnant. So the next question is, today I used my dildo. After I finished, there was a lot of white creamy looking stuff all around my vagina and on my dildo. Is this normal? And so this is normal as long as the vaginal discharge wasn't cottage cheese-like, so really clumpy. If it wasn't discolored, so if it wasn't green, gray, or orange, a rusty red or brown color could be an indication of starting or ending your period. So that's normal, but anything that's gray, green, or orange could be a sign of infection. Also, the cottage cheese type texture, the clumpiness could be a sign of a yeast infection or some type of other infection. And if there was a smell, so an odor that was very fishy or just really foul and off, then that's also a sign of an infection. If you had any burning or itching before, during, or after you used your dildo, then that's another sign of an infection, and you'd want to go see a doctor or a nurse practitioner if any of these symptoms were present on the dildo. Now, normal vaginal discharge is going to be white and creamy, and it should have a mild odor to it. So nothing really foul or really pungent, just something mild, and that is perfectly normal. The next question is, can a boy pee with an erection? And theoretically, people who have penises cannot urinate with an erection because the internal urethral sphincter will close off to prevent sperm from going into the bladder. And so the internal urethral sphincter is located at the base of the bladder and at the beginning of the urethra. And in a penis, the urethra is a passageway for both sperm and urine. So to prevent the two from leaving the penis at the same time, the internal urethral sphincter will clamp down on the base of the bladder / urethra and will then prevent sperm from going into the bladder during an erection, and it'll also prevent urine from leaving the urethra during an erection as well. And so that's why you don't have urine coming out of the penis during intercourse or masturbation. And so once the erection subsides and the penis becomes flaccid again, that sphincter will relax, and then the person can urinate, and then sperm won't leak out while you're urinating. And so if you're having trouble urinating with an erection, just know that physiologically there is a reason for that. So just make sure to try to get rid of the erection, try to subside the erection, and then you should be able to urinate after. If you're having trouble with this and there's some sort of issue between urination, erections, or ejaculation, go see a urologist and they can help you with that. All right, so the last question for this week's weekly sex ed Q&A is, my partner is very open and so am I, and we have consented to having sex, but I'm embarrassed about my body. Is this normal? And it can be normal. So a lot of us have insecurities about certain parts of our bodies, and we also like other parts of our bodies. That's perfectly normal. And what I can say is that your partner is consenting to having sex with you, and they find you attractive, they want to have sex with you, and you want to have sex with them. And that's really special. And you have to remember that everyone is unique. All bodies are different. And so your partner is choosing you for the things that make you an individual and make you unique. And that's really beautiful. Also, the process of loving your body and body positivity can be a long journey, but it can also be a really amazing journey for self-love and just looking at the parts of you that are uniquely different, right? So I have a really prominent nose. Like if you look at my profile, I have a hump in my nose, but I'm not going to change that. Why? Because my ancestors are indigenous to North America, and that is a physical trait of my body. And so I carry the traits of my ancestors in my nose, and you can see it. I look really indigenous. And that's something that I was made fun of when I was a kid, but I've learned to embrace it. And so all these different parts that make us unique, that make us insecure, are the things that make us us. So the more you can look at your body and appreciate the things that are considered imperfections, the more you are going to feel confident and the more you're going to love yourself. And when it comes to having sex and feeling pleasure in sex, the more confident you are, the better it's going to be. So if you're in your head too much about what you look like or how your partner thinks about your body, the less you're going to be in your body and the less pleasurable it will be overall. So if you can get out of your head, love yourself, and enjoy the moment, it'll be more fun and it'll help your journey of self-love. All right, everyone. So those are all the questions that were submitted for this week's Sex Ed Q&A. If you would like your Sex Ed question answered, please go to eggplantsandpeaches.com. The link will be in the description below, and I will get to your Sex Ed questions in the following week. So I generally will record on a Tuesday, so I stop answering questions on Monday or Tuesday. So just know that it may be the following week if you submit them on a Wednesday or Thursday. Nonetheless, I've had a great time. I hope you all had a really healthy, happy holiday, and it's been fun. Thank you so much.